The door that shouldn't have been there. The door that shouldn't exist. Margaret had worked in the Blackwood estate for nearly a decade. She knew every inch of the house, every antique vase, every creaky floorboard. But as she carried a tray of fresh linens down the second-floor corridor, she stopped short. A door stood at the end of the hallway. It shouldn't have been there. The hallway had always ended with a large window that overlooked the fog-choked gardens. Now the window was gone. In its place stood a door of deep black wood, its surface slick and wet, as if it had been dredged up from the bottom of a lake. Her skin crawled. Had she simply not noticed it before? No, that was impossible. She had dusted this hallway just yesterday. A soft knock. Margaret's breath hitched in her throat. The knock came again, gentle, almost polite. Then a voice. Margaret! Her name, spoken in a way that was at once familiar and completely wrong. It didn't echo like it should have in the empty hallway. Instead, the sound slithered along the walls, seeping into the corners of the house. She stepped back, dropping the linens. The house was empty except for her. Mr. and Mrs. Blackwood had left for their autumn retreat in the countryside. There was no one else here. Another knock. A slow, rhythmic tapping, like a patient thing waiting to be let in. Margaret's pulse pounded. She had to leave, had to get away from that impossible door, but her feet wouldn't move. The handle turned. Not from the outside, but from within. A wet creak filled the hallway as the door inched open. Blackness yawned beyond it, not the darkness of an unlit room, but something else, something deeper, a void that seemed to breathe. Margaret took a trembling step back. A hand slithered out. Not a human hand. Too many fingers. Too long. Too thin. The joints bent wrong, and the skin glistened as if slick with oil. The fingers wriggled blindly in the air before curling, as if testing the space beyond the door. Margaret, the voice purred, closer now. The thing squeezed further into the light, its shape shifting, stretching, trying to become something recognizable. The smell of brine and decay filled the air. Then it moved. Too fast. The hand shot forward, its fingers snapping around her wrist like iron clamps. The skin burned cold, a searing frostbite that sent pain lancing up her arm. Margaret shrieked, wrenching back, but the thing held tight. It yanked her forward with inhuman strength, her feet dragging across the floor, the air thick with the sound of something wet and hungry. She clawed at the walls, the rug, anything to stop herself, but her body lurched as the door yawned wider, revealing more of the thing that lurked beyond. It had no face, only a shifting, rippling mass of darkness, green eyes forming and unforming across its surface, whispering her name in voices she recognized, her mother's, her father's, her own. She sobbed as another hand, no, a limb, boneless and slick, wrapped around her waist. Then it pulled. Margaret's scream was swallowed as the blackness engulfed her, dragging her through the threshold. She thrashed, but there was no purchase, no floor, no air, only cold, only nothingness, only the endless, writhing dark. The door slammed shut behind her. By the time the Blackwoods returned a week later, the door was gone. The hallway ended in the arched window once more. But the house was quiet. Too quiet. And when Mrs. Blackwood entered the parlor, she froze. The air felt thick, heavy, wrong. The mirror above the fireplace no longer reflected the room. Instead, it showed a dim, endless corridor. At the far end of it stood a door. And behind that door, something knocked and whispered her name.